Did you go see a movie where audience almost never stopped laughing? For me, it was Austin Powers Goldmember. Somehow the movie theater sold way more tickets than there were seats for, and people were standing along the walls and sitting in the aisles. But I guess no one really cared because it was non-stop laughter the entire movie. I can't really remember another movie where everyone cracked up so much. Maybe an early Jackass movie. What about you guys? Bored. I was literally in pain after seeing it. Yes, I saw Bored at a matinee on opening day. The majority of the audience were older seniors, and I thought, do they have any idea what they're getting into? The audience all laughed hard. Not one person laughed. Afterwards, I could overhear some of the grannies saying things like, "That was one of the funniest movies I ever seen." It was a reminder that I needed to check my ageism. I also saw Bored next to two elderly, seemingly Jewish ladies. Based on what I knew about the movie going into it, I was worried for them, but they were fucking dying the whole time. When I read this question, my first thought was also Bored. I've never had another experience where the entire theater was just literally uncontrollably laughing throughout the entire film. The type of laughter you normally only get with your friends, where people genuinely cannot stop laughing about something that happened 3 minutes ago. Rewatching it alone, it's still funny, but I doubt I'll ever have another theater experience like that one. It's a victim of its own success in a way because it has a kind of stigma about it when you bring it up now, but that's because it was such a phenomenon at the time. Superbad. Saw it opening weekend with a packed house and missed about 10% of the jokes because the audience was laughing so loudly. I saw Superbad in theater and it was amazing. Outside of the theater, about a year later, I'm traveling with my family and my 80-plus-year-old grandma in a hotel room. We're looking to watch an in-room movie and I decide to put on Superbad because I was the only one who'd seen it. Within the first few minutes, my prudish Catholic grandma is telling me to turn it off because of the swearing and vulgarity. We end up watching another movie, and then once done, I realize we still have Superbad paid for. So I'm like, okay, Grandma, we all saw another movie since we paid for Superbad. Anyone who wants to watch it might as well. Well, you've never seen an 80-plus-year-old laugh so hard while being ashamed. She was hiding her non-stop laughter under her covers. Superbad, truly a movie for the ages. Team America was insane in the theater. I was returning from Iraq when this movie came out. I had no idea what it was about or what to expect. Never saw or heard anything about it coming out. My friends just told me they were going to a movie and I decided to join them. When the first scene appeared of puppets, I thought it was a joke. But then the puppets turned into puppets and I could not stop laughing from that point. My stomach practically imploded itself when he started vomiting everywhere. Beer Fest, opening night, College Town. The movie opens with a disclaimer that if you try and match the drinking in the film, you will die. During that disclaimer, you could hear beers opening throughout the theater and folks started laughing and never stopped. Also, when USA won, the theater erupted in cheers and high fives like we just won the World Cup. I saw Bored while high on mushroom on a Saturday night in a predominantly black neighborhood that was packed. It was the most hysterical fucking experience I ever had in my life. Guy in front of me kept going, "What the silly motherfucker doing?" I went to Florida A&M University, if you know, you know, and sophomore year, 12 of us piled into an Oldsmobile Sierra and a Nissan Sentra to drive to the Harlem Nights opening night in 1989. We got there a bit late and we had to sit in the row 2 to a seat, one couple per seat, in order to sit together. Laughed so hard, I was hoarse the next morning. It was a sleepy town with 2 schools, a state capital, and an itty-bitty airport when I was there. I don't get the impression it's that anymore. Ace Ventura, first one. It was like they had a laugh track going. Place was pretty full and everybody was belly laughing. The Reno scene, it too has me fucking dying every single time. Oh look, the mama Reno is giving birth. Horrified looks as a naked man pops out. Mama! I remember being real young and we left the theater and I go, what's a virgin? They're like, it's a kind of bat. My wife and I, our first date was to see this movie. I had never seen Jim Carrey before this movie. I left with a splitting headache. My wife told me I was louder than anyone else in the theater. It is so out of character for me to make anyone else uncomfortable. I don't chew loudly, I don't open plastic. I'm very aware of others. This day, I couldn't control it. There's something about Mary. This was it. Franks and beans! God damn, seen this movie a million times and still fucking wins at the cut, we got a bleeder! If you ever want to show someone the importance of editing and audience testing, show them this scene. When the Farrelly brothers first cut it, they show the reveal of what Ben has done to his Frank and Beans in beginning. It was a logical place for it, but it didn't work because the audience was too aghast at what they saw to laugh. Snakes on a motherfucking plane. Back in the mid-2000s, when going to the theater was still exciting. Midnight release, baby! No assigned seats, no fear of getting shut up, no multiple screens, crammed into one theater like fucking sardines. And we lined up for it. A bunch of young idiots who knew the movie was going to be straight trash, but we were 100% on board. Good plot? Fuck you. Decent writing? It's shit. Believable acting? Grow up. This movie had Samuel L. Jackson and snakes. Theater was electric. Oohs and ahs and boos during the exposition. Thunderous applause at Sam Jackson's first appearance. When the snakes finally came, oof, hide your daughters, we went wild. Every time a snake got shot, we cheered. Every time a snake killed someone's stupid passenger, we squealed. Snake kills couple fucking in the bathroom? A riot. 3 people died. And when it was time, when it actually happened, when Oscar-nominated Samuel L. Jackson finally said his iconic line, I have had it with these motherfucking snakes on this motherfucking plane. Theater went wild. Beyond standing ovation, standing primal fucking screams, jumping, hugging, wailing, popcorn and drinks flung everywhere. It was the single greatest and most impactful movie experience of my entire life, for the worst movie possible, and I'll never have anything close to it again as long as I live. I miss that shit. Anchorman and Old School. Old School was probably my favorite movie theater experience of all time. Packed crowd going nuts for the entire movie. The scene where Will Ferrell shoots himself in the neck with a dirt gun is the hardest I ever laughed at a movie, by a pretty wide margin. Going to the movies used to be so much fun. It sucks that it's really just not part of my life anymore. I had trouble breathing after Jack Black kicked Baxter off of the bridge. The imagery of the stuffed animal used for the scene, the way it just stumbled through the air, plus the sheer surprise of the pun by Black had me rolling. Anchorman, when Ron's talking to Veronica and the camera pulls back and you see he's got a massive boner. Woo boy, the gales of laughter. I thought I was going to pass out.